All right, this is one of the ones where I really want to get into the nuts and bolts side of things. Finances and money are extremely important. It is one of the, money is not the most important thing, but it can make things very difficult if you don't take care of your money, okay? And this next quote, if you write down any quote I say for the rest of the time or anything I say, please understand this next point. Okay? There are a lot of people that make $500,000 and have not a dime to their name because they don't save it. Wealth is not what you make, it's what you retain. Okay? I know a lot of people who make, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 a year who have huge nest eggs saved up because they save their money. I know a lot of people, guy graduated high school with, got drafted right out of high school to go play professional baseball, had a $3 million signing bonus and does not have a penny left. Not a penny left. So, it's not your salary that makes you rich, it's your spending habits. All right, can anybody tell me what, and this is disputed, what Albert Einstein said was the eighth wonder of the world? Anybody? Compound interest. He said compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world. Now, I know not all of you are math people in here, but we're going to go through a very simple math process here. Okay, compound interest. If you had $1,000 in the bank right now, okay, and you added $12,000 a year or $1,000 a month, without compound interest for 44 years, you would have, and that's hard to see, you would have $529,000, okay? That's with no compound interest. That's just the money that you add to it and what you had in there originally, which is just $1,000, okay? Now, with compound interest, which is compounded at 5% annually, okay? And that just means that you have a 5% return on the money that you put in there. A $1,000 principal or starting balance in your savings account, whatever it is, for $12,000 a year, 44 years, with compound interest, is $1,912,000 plus. Okay? That's the big difference. That is a very, very, very big difference. And what I am trying to express here is that the money that you have in an account, you're getting interest on the interest it earns. So it compounds very quickly. For people who are very wealthy, if you started saving money right now, and I'll show you right here. This is if you started saving money 20 years later, okay? If you took the exact same, would have been $12,000 a year, 20 years later, you deposited one lump sum of $241,000 in there, which is 20 years of it, you would have $12,000 a year added for 24 years of compounding would be $1,337,000 plus. What that means is if you started saving money 20 years late, even if you put the exact same money into the account, you're going to be $500,000 shy where you would have been if you started now. Okay? So if you agreed to invest that amount of money and you started now versus 20 years from now, you would make $500,000 just on interest. Okay? Now, that's not a big deal now. It's not. But the fact is, if you become disciplined in your savings and you become disciplined right now, you can be very, very, very wealthy one day and not even have to save as much as the next guy. Okay? And so this may seem like a very minor thing, but if you understand this concept, if you understand how important it is, you will be wealthier than you can imagine later on in life. All right. Has anybody ever thought of, kind of run through their mind what they're going to do when they get a real paycheck, like a real big job paycheck? You thought about it? Where are you going to go to spend this money? Man, I'm going to get a $5,000 check in 1 month. Where am I going to go spend this? Has anybody ever thought about it? Anybody have like a kill list? Purse first, shoes next, watch next. Y'all have one of those lists in there? Well, the biggest temptation is when you start getting we'll call it big boy checks for real jobs, okay? My encouragement is to you, and here's another plan that you can put in place. for those types of purchases, my wife and I decided that if you want something that is over $500, then we'll wait a month to buy it. Okay? We'll take that money, put it in a separate account, and if in a month you still want that item, have at it. But if in a month you decide, you know what, I really want to spend $500 on that again, then you put the money back in the account. Okay? So my encouragement is to you to avoid the temptation of spontaneously buying something that now you can afford, or that you think you can afford. Put it in a savings account. If you want it a month, go get it. If you don't, that gives you some time to kind of think about, okay, how long did it take me to earn $500? That was a lot of hours, a lot of time. Do I really want to give it up that much for this? Like I said, it doesn't mean you can't have nice things. It just takes the temptation away from getting that check in. And I can buy a whole lot of stuff with this. All right? And trust me, when you get your first check, and it's different than the check you would get waiting tables or with an internship, when you actually get a check from working your job, it's going to be a little bit different. Because at this age, you probably don't have a whole lot of expenses unless there's some student loans and everything. But I would just take that tool, anything outside of a certain amount that you decide on. If you want to spend it, hold on to it for a month, and then spend it in a month. That gives you some time to kind of sit on it and sit and figure out, do I really want that back? Okay? All right, this next one, like I said, I'm going to tell you what I do. You don't have to agree with what I do. You don't have to do what I do. This is what I do, okay? When I say get rid of it immediately, we're going to figure out the places that you want to put your money right out of the gate. The second you get your paycheck in, if you want to save some money, we want to get that money out of the account immediately, so you're not tempted to save it, okay? This is what I do. TTSS. I tithe, save the money for taxes, put the money in the savings, and then whatever is left, that's what I spend. Okay? I don't spend, and then if I got some money left over, put it in a savings account. And I don't spend and then find out, oh man, I'm going to owe a lot of money for taxes this year, and then not have it. I don't spend and then take the 10% and say, oh, well, not 10% anymore, but maybe 2%, or maybe 1.5%, and tithe it. Like I said, this is me. I'm not saying this is what you need to do, but even if you cut the first one out, if that's not, what you believe in, that's fine. But I strongly encourage you to look into the next three in that order. Make sure you have money to pay taxes. Make sure you have money to put into savings. And then whatever you have left, that's what you spend. In that order. Okay? Because it's very easy to spend all your money and say, oh, well, I'll save next month. In my paycheck, I don't even see the balance of it. I have direct deposits. That check is split into those 4 categories, and it's sent to me, and the only thing that hits my checking account is what's there for me to spend. Everything else is in another account. Save money for taxes, save money for tithing, save money for savings. Okay? Is debt expensive? Anybody understand how expensive debt is? Anybody have a lot of credit card debt? Anybody? You don't have to raise your hand. You know who you are. Probably just got this real sinking feeling in the pit of your stomach. Debt is very expensive. This is another thing that I strongly encourage you to do. If you want to go on vacation, if hopefully one day in the next few years TCU goes to a national championship and you want to go to Miami or to New Orleans or to Arizona and you want to go see TCU playing the national championship game, my encouragement is to you is to save for that trip and then spend it in cash, not put it on a credit card and try to pay that credit card off. Because what it may have originated as a $5,000 bill can quickly get into $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 bill as you're trying to pay off that credit card bill with the interest tacking onto it. So if you want something that's $5,000 or you want a new car that's $30,000 and you can wait, I would save the money and pay cash for it. All the vacations my wife and I go on, we save the money, we figure out, okay, what are we going to do? Next year we're going to go to Napa Valley for our anniversary. Okay? So we're going to figure out what it's going to cost. We're going to save the money now. And then when that day comes, pay cash for everything. Okay? No credit card, no debt, no nothing. We save for it. And that way you can also enjoy it. You know what it's going to cost you. When you spend the money, you don't have to worry about charging it. And next thing you know, you've got $15,000 in credit card bills that that you'll never pay off. Okay? Because trust me, if you pay the minimum payment on a credit card bill, you'll never get rid of it, ever, 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 ever. Okay? That's how they make their money. So save and spend, don't spend and then pay back. It's very good financial knowledge for you. Tools I use. There are going to be some things I strongly encourage you to purchase as many of these items as you can that you can afford, okay? These will be great financial tools. Quicken, it's a way to manage your budget. It'll tie straight into your bank account and figure out what you're spending your money on. For me, I'm always on the road. It took this program to make me realize how much money I was spending on buying food on the road, eating out. It's a lot of money. Each day it feels like, okay, $5 here, $7 here, $10 there. And then at the end of the month, it's like, well, I spent $700 on eating out. What? $700? It's a lot of money. But it took this program for me to really figure what I was spending all that money on. Okay? The next one's a book by David Bach called Debt Free for Life. It is a great book. I know all of y'all have classes that you have to read for, all this kind of stuff. You don't want to take on any additional reading. That's fine. When you have time to read, this book is a must. Dave Ramsey, I'm sure you've heard the name before. He kind of buys into the exact same thing I was telling you, which is save first and then spend. Don't spend and pay back. His motto is more work off cash. And then smart couples finish rich. That's not just for couples, it's for everyone to let you know kind of if we start now, if we save now, if we're smart now, we'll be very wealthy later. Okay?